Hi, I'm Stephen Button. I help people transform the quality of their life and learn and remember how to do the deep work and throw away the distractions. So if digital media like this are throwing your life out of balance and destroying your creativity, then you're in the right place. I put together a guide to help people heal their past. Comment guide and I will send you the link. It's a workbook. Now, what I noticed when I started a 10-day silent retreat is on the third day of silence and sitting in constant meditation, I kept reaching for my phone. That was when I realized what a pernicious influence this thing can be, this carrying of a supercomputer. It destroys people's lives almost more than anything else that's like universally sanctioned. Alcohol, there's a little bit of a taboo around it. Yes, many people drink moderately. If you drink heavily, though, people are going to say, "Oh, that's bad." If you're on your phone endlessly, people say, "Oh, that's normal." You go to dinner, and there's certain venues where every couple in the place is on their device staring at it. Like, where are they? Where are you? Where am I when I'm doing this? How can we break free? Now, any digital behavior has to do with something in the past. So, getting out of what we don't want to feel. In my paradigm, which I've helped many clients move through, the Rapture Protocol, we pull from the past what we need to complete. And every relationship is transformed. At the very least, you realize that you're a fit in that or not. So I say sometimes that I help high achieving entrepreneurs save their marriage, save their relationship. And sometimes in the wake of an abusive or misaligned relationship, I help people like you heal their life. So nothing that happens is by accident, as I realized when I broke my neck and I crawled out of the ocean and ocean waves slammed me into the ocean floor. I realized viscerally in my body as my truth that nothing happens by accident. And this belief system can radically change the quality of your life. So I encourage you to adopt it. Otherwise, we are like colliding microscopic things that hit each other and what happened? There's no power in that. So when you believe fully that you are under the auspices of a guiding hand, a compassionate, if sometimes seemingly ruthless universe, then you can make a certain kind of caliber of choices going forward. And also looking back on your past, you can say, oh, this happened for that reason. This happened for that reason. So I encourage you to slow down, escape the clutch of the digital media long enough to look into your own soul and your own heart and your own somatic spaces and find what you need to complete. Do you know the answer? I'm listening. You can put it in the comments. Do you know what you need to complete? Chances are you're sort of aware and sort of unaware. Like one client came to me with relationship issues and I knelt down to touch her feet. That was in the somatic Philomela work. And her relationship, boom, was transformed because the trauma she had experienced from losing parents was bound up in her feet. I love this story just because it illustrates, there are countless ones like it, but this illustrates what you think you're working on. Sometimes where we push against, where we're taught to work on things, how we think we're making progress, doesn't make any progress at all. This is why 20 years of therapy sometimes does not move an issue that is relatively simple. Now, I developed the Rapture Protocol to help people heal their life and thrive in relationship. Now, people sometimes think, oh, a relationship course, that's silly. Is it? I thought that was silly too initially. And I spent 20 years suffering in miserable relationships, many of which could have either been avoided or transformed by knowing a few simple strategies. I will show you simple strategies. However, I will also show you complex, deep, profound mindset framework shifts and ways to complete what is incomplete in your past. Because every iteration of a relationship problem is a signpost to look back at your past and be like, whoa, what was the origin of this? What am I here to be, to do, to become? And how has relationship aided that or gotten in the way? So, what's the answer? Do you know? I often stop people and say, like, I ask a deep rhetorical question and they're like, oh yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm like, what's the answer? Because sometimes the knowing surfaces instantly, so fast that the mind doesn't even know how to see it. It's like, oh, I know why I'm here. Once I worked with a client with traumatic brain injury. She hadn't worked for like 20 years. And we cleared that up and she was able to work again. Now, part of what we did some somatic work and rebalancing the posture and clearing out old residual trauma. And another thing we did was frame it so that this thing happened for a certain reason. It sounds cliche to just say that this happens for a reason. And when you can say it and anchor it into the system in such a way where a traumatic brain injury that was disabling can be resolved, that's something else entirely. So we live in a world of thought, head-centered concepts that don't connect to the body. This is one reason I like to write with a vintage typewriter, because it's an embodied process. That's another tangent. It's also another reason why every experience of yours needs to move through the instrument for living life, which is the body. So if you're misaligned with the body, how would we put this in psychological terms? Your life sucks. Your life, the story of your life in the Joseph Campbell hero's journey is not fulfillment, because you can only experience fulfillment through your body. When I got out of this 10-day retreat, I did look at birds and I did cry because they were so moving. Birds moving across the sky, deep metaphor, rich, lush proverbs, and everything like threaded together into this body. Because in Vipassana, you sit and you scan your body for 10 days straight. And you learn that the last frontier is not space. It's not even the bottom of the ocean. It's in your own body. There are studies now about meditation and such, and people when meditating start to hear each other's thoughts and they're kind of startled. Oh crap, this is the devil's work, or something like that. Really, it's just a natural byproduct of slowing down. And that's part of the rapture protocol. Slowing down to experience where you actually stuck and where your relationship is free to go and what you actually want. You know, we get stuck in a rush surging forward with the river, like we're locked in the current. There's nothing that can change. And I saw this woman or this man and they look like what I thought I wanted in my childhood. So I went into this equation with no planning or thought, without awareness of my body, without knowing strategies for discussion or empathizing or healing. And I'm just rushing along and tethered in all these ways, karmically, energetically, physically. There's kids, there's finances, etc. Yes, you are somewhat locked into this equation, and in this locking, your absolute freedom exists. That's the paradoxical part. Freedom means freedom in the mind and body. It doesn't mean walking along a beach not having to take care of anyone, though sometimes that's obviously valuable. You can walk out in front of a tree now and be completely free. You can be completely free without walking anywhere. That's you, that's your choice, that's right now, that's my choice, etc. So I fall into digital addictions occasionally and I come back out. Lately, like I was on Facebook the other day trying to run an ad and I just saw this litany of stuff. And even though some of it was about family members and such, it's just like so mind-numbing that I can't necessarily endure it at all. And that's how I felt when I got out of that 10-day retreat. And that's how you're going to feel. Like if social media is very rewarding, it's because life is not that rewarding, life is not that rich. I know it's paradoxical because you go into that thinking, life is so rich, there's so much going on, I want to learn things. And then it sucks you in, you're like, life is over here and this thing's over here. This is what I call the digital desert. This is the real world. Welcome back to the real world. Are you a moth or a flame? The moth is the passive consumer that flies into the flame. And the flame is like you are a lighthouse among humans. You're creating things that people are moving toward. You're like a magnet. So what are you putting out there? What is your consciousness putting out there? What are you creating? As Werner Erhard said, until what is significant in your life is created by you, you are living some inherited life. Isn't that profound? Why are we looking externally for all this stuff that people are doing so we can be, yay, and not doing what we came here to do? Or if we're doing it, we're kind of like, I'm going to do kind of what they're doing. That looks good. So that's part of the crux of raising your consciousness and raising your value as a human and having better relationships, is making better choices of things that nourish yourself. So let's do it.